Yo, what is up? What is up, YouTube boxing family, YouTube gaming family, anybody that comes through to the channel? It's K right here. I'm back with another good live stream for you guys today. Um, I'm going to be chopping it up on some boxing news and, just some, I guess, like UFC, MMA talk. I'm going to talk about not so massive upset, but really good win with, that Jan lady that defeated Mackenzie Dern, which I wasn't so surprised. Like, I mean, Mackenzie Dern, she's not that good of a fighter. And I guess, like, to anybody UFC fan related watching this live stream, not really sure how many people will try to detract to say, oh, nah, man, like, you're wrong about that. She's a good fighter, man. Well, I'll be the very first of few or many people to say that I don't think she's that good. I was never really sold on her simply due to some of her weird political views that she just started just talking out publicly, and she acts like a weirdo. She's like not that intelligent, and I think the thing about her is like she's only notable because she's just on social media a lot, and people talk about her at an all-time high, and she was never shit to begin with. But I don't really like what she does outside of UFC. Like it's nothing to say that she isn't like a bad fighter or a great fighter. It's just like I never really cared too much about her as a person. But I was happy that Jan beat the crap out of her. She was never on anybody's radar herself, but I mean, knowing that the UFC, especially for women, they're pretty how should I say, they're pretty low when it comes to divisions wise because it's not as many divisions compared to men. But either way, the level of competition for women is definitely not on the level for men, but they're definitely getting their shine where they're able to do more in the sport compared to female boxing, where the level of opposition is definitely not 50-50 level fights, and you're not seeing a fight where it's getting competitive versus in female MMA is actually at a good state where the women are actually putting in more work, and they're getting decent money, but they're not getting the greatest money. But that's another topic to talk about for later. But nothing interesting for boxing. I guess like if you guys want me to bring it up, Luis Neri had a good knockout victory over his opponent. I forgot who the hell his opponent was, but he knocked him out, I believe, in 3 rounds. David Carmona. Yep, it was on the Legado de Campeones fight, and it was a okay fight. I mean, it was nothing special. I mean, it was okay fight overall, but the rest of the card, it was pretty much trash. I wasn't really like so sold on everybody. I mean, the only the only good fighters that were on the card was just Luis Neri, and then I guess at the main event with Jackie Nava. But see, like for those of you that don't know, Jackie Nava, she's like a long time female fighter, way past her prime, but she was very good back in her day. She's heavily known for being knocked out by I believe that Argentinian female fighter. I forgot what her name was. Oh, Alejandra Oliveira. For those of you that don't know, but yeah, Jackie Nava. She's a good fighter. I believe she's like a 2 division or 3 division world champion, but she's way past it. She's like 42 years old, but yeah, she was at the main event down there, and she had like an okay fight, but it wasn't too much of like a big victory. If anything, like I probably say it's like it's time for her to hang it up and just move forward. But yeah, like it was a good fight. It was decent. She's definitely not her normal self anymore, so she doesn't compete at like the high level, but she has some decent skills. Doing what she's able to do at like what 42 years old. But either way, Luis Neri, he looked okay. It wasn't anything special. Um, I want to say he's back down at 122 now, so I'm not too sure of like what the mindset will be for him coming into his next decisions, but everything should be set in stone for him when the PBC calls him back up. So I'm pretty sure that's just going to end up happening. He obviously beat Carlos Castro on the Keith Thurman versus Mario Barrios undercard. So I'm pretty sure Neri, he has a pretty good tough fight schedule coming up. He's only 27, about to be 28 in December. But I mean, as far as 122 goes, we have a lot of good competition. I don't think Neri is really that good of a 122 pounder. I think like when you look at the state of boxing at 122, Luis Neri doesn't really carry that much traction in what he does in his career. And whatever people try to say to me, like, nah, man, you're joking. Neri's a good fighter, blah, blah, blah. But, when you look at his opponents, like, ever since the bantamweight days, like, his only notable wins at bantamweight was against, Juan Carlos Payano. And then you won a vacancy belt against Aaron Alameda. But then at bantamweight, you had, if I'm not mistaken, yeah, he beat Shinsuke Yamanaka. That was out in Japan, but he actually failed to make weight, so he wasn't ever. Yeah, Luis Neri was never a champion um, at this weight class. Sadly for the bantamweight division. So yeah, like I mean, I just don't know what Neri's been doing. Like he's been pretty much not being disciplined at 118. So I just don't know what's going to happen for him at 122. I think 122 would be a lot better if he actually started like maybe fighting, guys by the likes of. See now, I think what's going to end up happening, like this is just like my little spitball prediction, but I think what will end up happening with Luis Neri is that he's gonna end up facing who he's gonna face Rais Salim, and if him and Rais Salim, if they fight next, then I think the winner is gonna face Stefan Fulton. Because if you really think about it, I'm not too sure how big in rankings Neri's in by the WBC, but if I'm not mistaken, I'm pretty sure he's ranked pretty high. But if Rais Salim, if he could beat Luis Neri, which that's a very difficult opponent because he's a very deadly southpaw. He has a lot of power. He still carries power at 122 as he did at bantamweight. But I think where things are at right now, um, it's going to be very interesting. But as far as what I heard with this fight, he actually fought at 130 against Carmona. So now it's making me wonder, like, is he gonna campaign at super featherweight or super bantamweight? Because I don't know what else Neri is gonna be doing, but if he's gonna go back down to 122, which I don't think that's the right move for him, knowing that you just boosted yourself back up to 130, or you just boosted up to 130. I think the best, the best route for him could be maybe featherweight or maybe super featherweight. Who knows? But yeah, there really wasn't that much to really talk about for boxing. I mean, I don't really have that much else to really say, but I guess if you guys want to, hear my take on, the Frank Martin, Keyshawn Davis situation, there was some interesting back and forth between Frank Martin and Keyshawn Davis. And now, like I've been hearing that Frank Martin, he's been beefing with Keyshawn Davis, and Keyshawn Davis saying like he's gonna step over Frank Martin and the rest of the lightweight division, blah blah blah, and Keyshawn Davis, he's a good fighter, but the problem with him is that when you look at the state of his skill set, this is a guy that's saying that, oh, I can't fight, guys that have the same amount of wins as I do because I'm 6-0 type of guy. But did anybody give that same energy for Lomachenko, where Lomachenko, when he was going for world titles early in his career, people were saying, "Oh, wait a minute, why is he doing that? He's only like right." So, like, honestly, the double standard for Keyshawn Davis makes no sense because it seems to me that Top Rank, they're gonna try to build him up like a Terrence Crawford in the making, which I could easily see it coming. But with Keyshawn Davis's progression as a fighter, there's really nobody at the lightweight division he should not be fighting right now. Like, he should be fighting guys like Pitbull Cruz. He should be fighting Jose Valenzuela. Like, now that Valenzuela he got knocked out or starched by Edwin De Los Santos, you should go after him or go after Edwin De Los Santos. Like, I mean, the lightweight division is completely stacked with immense talent, but now it's making me wonder, like, what's going to end up happening, because what's going to end up happening is that you're going to start seeing a lot of maybe ducking at the top rank, stable level, especially between lightweights, because I don't think there's that many lightweights at top rank that Keyshawn can be fed to. Otherwise, they're just going to be picking up nobodies, from the streets, just to say, hey, you like, do you want to fight Keyshawn Davis? Get knocked out, blah blah blah. Like, I don't believe Keyshawn Davis fighting good opposition until we like actually see it. So, looking at the state of the lightweight division, um, you got Frank Martin, you got oh, you got that other guy, you got Giovanni Cabrera, which I think that's just going to probably be the next fight for Keyshawn Davis, because if he fights Giovanni Cabrera, that'll be good. Oh, and I see my brother Combat Toolbag. He's trying to hop in. Hold on, let me tell him it's not working for you. Still hopping. It's not connected. Me, doesn't want me to call you on IG. Yeah, I just messaged you, Combat. But if you are listening in, uh, just figured I'd tell you that, just to give you the heads up. Um, but yeah, uh, let me see if I could just call you. Yeah, like I could just call you, because that would be like a lot better. But let me play some background music for you guys. I'm gonna play some Tekken. Yeah, but basically, with everything that's going on with the lightweight division, it's gonna be interesting. I don't know what will be the end all be all with everything, but I think what's gonna end up happening is that the lightweight division, it's gonna like, it's definitely gonna heat up. Um, yeah, Combat says it's doing the same. Yeah, it is. Yeah, it is. Hold on. Yeah, let me just call you. I'm gonna call you. Yeah. Yeah, like, I'll just call Combat.
Yo, bro.
Yo, what's up, man?
Nothing much, nothing much. Sorry about that. I don't know why it's doing that with this phone. Maybe it's specifically this phone. Actually, let me try to connect to the other through the link, but through my other device. I don't know why it does that though.
Yeah, I
Nothing
think
can.
I think it could be a browser thing, or it could be just like the device itself.
Yeah, it's weird because I'm usually able to jump on people's lives. Like I don't know why it does that specifically when I try to jump on yours, but I'm gonna see if it's this device specifically or if it's me, just my end in general.
Yeah.
What did I miss so far?
Oh no, like I was just talking about about the whole fiasco with Keyshawn Davis and Frank Martin.
Oh yes, yes.
Yeah.
What's your take on that?
Man, I just want to see Keyshawn Davis get beat up. That's all.
Yeah, I'm kind of in the same place. I want that matchup. I think it's a tough match for Frank, but I do see Frank walking all over him. To be honest.
Yeah. Yeah, because like I think Frank Martin, he's just like he's more dangerous in skill level compared to
Yeah, his speed
Keyshawn.
is better. Um, he's an overall better artist. I think. Like,
Yeah, most definitely. I think I think the biggest takeaway from it is that Keyshawn, he's trying to act like he can beat everybody because he just basically like uh you know like he basically emulates off of Shakur Stevenson. So
yeah, yeah.
he thinks he's like the ultimate badass because he's beating up guys that got these quote unquote winning records, but when you look at their resumes, they haven't done anything yet in their careers.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And it's so much to say. Like you popping all of this shit, you bullying everybody. You're that dude. Nobody can fuck with you. Just wait. But then in the same breath, I'm only 6-0, and I can't fight contenders now because who would I fight when I'm 20-0? So he just has a bunch of nonsense that he's saying. Give me 1 second. I'm gonna go on mute and let you cook real quick. I gotta bust this move real quick.
Okay. But
I'm
yeah.
still here though. I'm still here.
Okay, got it. Um, but yeah, continuing on with that, there's just like a lot of questions of like what's gonna happen at lightweight. I'm not too sure of who's really gonna end up fighting each other, but from what I'm hearing through several reports, obviously non-mainstream media, but I believe Ryan and Gervonta Tank Davis should be set for January, but I don't think that's going to be finalized until we get an official announcement. But I'm definitely looking forward for that fight. I already made like my breakdown of it. If anybody wants to check that out, but if
Can you
this
repeat your? I'm sorry, I ain't trying to mess up the live. I just missed what you just said last. So I had to step out.
yeah
But I'm curious to what you said though, regardless.
yeah, like I was just saying that I heard from multiple sources, within the YouTube boxing community that we follow, that Ryan Garcia and Gervonta Tank Davis could be finalized for January 7th.
Man, I'm so like I would love if that's true, but my issue is like I hate to go on a quick tangent, but it's like Tank has proven to us he's actually the party. Like I know that's not politically I don't know anybody. So that's what Tank is. Like when I look at Tank, I'm like Tank said him and Ryan at the end of this year. Ryan hinted at him and Tank at the end of this year. Ryan was disappointed earlier this year. Like why can't Tank just be transparent? Like why is he being all vegan? But then you got Tank who makes a post saying December something Tank Rolling. Tank posted that on his own account. So for us to be talking about Ryan and Tank after after Tank just hemmed up Ryan and Tank has this court date, it's like I know January is a revamped date because of the court case, but it's like Tank isn't even committed to Ryan versus Tank yet, because the last post I seen from Tank, besides him disputing Mayweather, Mayweather promotions, was that it was him versus Rolly too. So I'm just like, I don't know what you expect. I think, if I'm not mistaken, I think Bullet said something similar too. He's not sure Ryan will have to fight because it may be him. It may be Rolly again, or it may be Isak Cruz. So I'm just like, I would like to see Ryan versus Tank, because I want one of them knocked the fuck out. I'm tired of the gimmicks. I'm tired of the model games. I'm tired of the Mayweather games. I just want both parties to like either jump into the lane of real boxing or that carnival ship to crash and burn. One of the two. But yeah, that's my take on that. So,
Yeah, I don't.
And I'm more pessimistic about those guys. Those guys just it's not that they stuck in the ring. It's their character, their personality, their when you try to gauge their their merit as men, like all of that it has major flaws. Like when you look at them, you see two grown ass men who behave like little girls. It's disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, I never really looked so deep into that vision, but now that all the marbles have been exposed, it definitely seems like Gervonta and Ryan are starting to look like, feminine weirdos.
Yes, absolutely. And then on top of that, it's like we've seen Ryan Garcia do this game where they'll use a black fighter to sell his fight, and then same with Tank. Like we can speak as Tank as if he's a white boy, because Tank uses black fighters to sell his fight. Devin Haney, now Ryan Garcia, but neither fights any of the fighters they say they're going to fight. So Ryan went from calling out Devin to the point where Devin shut him up, and now he's only talking about Tank. And Tank did the same thing where he was calling out Devin, and he never really said much about Shakur besides probably some cute shit like they don't want no smoke or ain't no shit on this block. But when Devin is free, they decide to target each other, and that's like their way of selling their fights whenever they're not fighting each other. And I know we're getting to the point where they will fight each other, but we can't overlook all of the propaganda they've done based off of each other's name up to this point. So it's like it makes it hard to commit and be like, well, they say Ryan and Tank January, but it's been Ryan and Tank since they were in the lightweight division. I mean, let's be real. Tank was basically a lightweight since he was a featherweight. You feel me? Like, he was never married to one division. And Ryan was always at this weight class as far as we know. So I say all that to say that neither one of these guys have committed to any of the names that they said they were going to fight. It's always been, I'm going to fight this guy, Romero Jr. pops out of there, or Luke Campbell pops out of there, or Tank, I'm going to fight this guy, and then some Cruz pops out of somewhere, and I'm not talking about Isak, but the other one, and all of these other names come out of the woodwork. So I'm just like, over those guys that, unless they're fighting actual names, and actual names that can contend with them, not just because Tank fighting Ryan is a corny show, and a clown show, and a side show, and Ryan by fighting Tank is the exact same. Granted, it's the most difficult fighter Ryan would have fought, but they're both not champions. They're both not ranked like top 12. Tank is ranked highly, but Ryan is not. Like, it does nothing with them guys in Ryan title contention. It does nothing to move the division forward with them fighting. All it does is keep them both A, relevant, and B, and with whatever current standing you're at in the lightweight division. But it doesn't move them up in any rankings. It doesn't move them up in any pound for pound list. You know, it doesn't do anything really.
Yeah, I agree. I don't think it's worth anybody's time, and you know, I just mainly see it just to be like a publicity stunt fight. You know, it's just Tank is either gonna wash Ryan or it's gonna be like one of those fights where Javante, he doesn't, he doesn't fully commit himself to the fight. He's just gonna expect himself to
Exactly.
win. So if it really ends up being like a Rolly fight where it basically goes past like 4 rounds and Tank hasn't knocked out Ryan Garcia yet, it's like, that's pretty much all, that I need to know, like about him.
Yeah,
That, like, to me personally, I just feel like Javante, he's not getting better in skill set,
I agree there.
like I can personally see that from a boxing perspective because I study everything that Tank does every single time he fights, and
Mm-hmm.
from all 3 fights that we can examine from ever since the Mario Barrios fight leading up to now, to me, Javante looks like he's getting touched up more, and
Yes.
he's not sharpening his tools with deadly competition, and I'm like afraid of seeing that being done to him because imagine if that was like Frank Martin or somebody like
Ooh,
somebody of deadly caliber that's not afraid to actually hurt you. Like, to me, from a
no
southpaw,
problem.
from a southpaw perspective, I don't want that happening to Javante, where he runs into some guy that's deadly and very hungry. Especially like a guy like Edwin De Los Santos, or any of those guys.
Oh yeah.
Like, yeah, Javante, he needs to he needs to start fighting more southpaws, because
And more difficult competition because just like
yeah,
you said, him scoring Frank Martin, they fought before. As soon as I tell said that was paper work. If I could have paid for that, I would have paid for that. Literally, there's no word. And that
yeah,
was when Frank Martin wasn't nobody. That was when Frank Martin wasn't with me. Frank Martin is like EJ on skates, right? He's like EJ, but with a little better footwork and maybe less pop in the punches. But I'm looking at it as like I seen Frank Martin improve from when he was with the Mayweather team to now. I see a change. Now, referencing what you just said about Tank, even just going based off of those last 3 fights, what do we see? Tank gets touched up for quite a few rounds until he brings himself into the fight with the big fights. So it's like all of his fights are starting to look the same. It's not to take anything away from his skill set. It's just saying, is he improving? And that I do not see. So
yeah,
I agree with you there.
yeah. Because honestly, like the way he fought against Rolly, like imagine that version against Frank Martin or Edwin De Los Santos. Like, I feel like that's like a death waiting to happen because
Mm-hmm.
Javante has shown not to be touched up too much when he's at his full best, but when he's like not fully committed coming into a fight, it kind of worries me because it makes me feel like he's not really like fully focused in, because he's not looking at these opponents as major threats, in which he's been selecting them to not be threats. But
Right.
when you look at
And that's
the,
my point.
yeah,
When you say there was a time where basically he wasn't really getting. I mean, when he's at his best, he's not really getting touched up like that. My follow-up question to that is, he's fighting at that point. Because if he was fighting a bantamweight who is brought up 2 weight classes, obviously he's not going to get touched because who has the superior food in that scenario? The person who's more natural at the weight, not the person who's putting on another 8 pounds. So Tank, to put it simply, Tank, he's basically been getting touched up by everyone who's close to his level that he's fought. Be it Gamboa, be it Leo Santa Cruz, be it Rolly Romero, be it what's the kid's name? I won for Barrios. Like they all were touching him. You know, Barrios caught him with a feint 2-3 and Tank bounced off the ropes and started to do a shimmy side to side to show the audience he was hurt. It's like every time I see him fight a name that was actually somewhat of a name, he got touched. And it wasn't like he got hurt or like hurt badly, but he was getting touched. Like when Leo was when he was fighting Leo, he was losing the fight. They're like, whoa, Leo's landing, Leo's backing him up, Leo this, Leo that. And I hate to go against any of the family, but to even say that he was winning the Rolly fight is like bullshit. And it's like, how is he winning a fight not throwing punches?
Yeah.
Like you can't win a fight not throwing punches. Just moving on the back foot does not mean you're winning. Yes, he's setting him up. Just using lateral movement doesn't mean you're losing. But if the motherfucker is landing on you and you're not landing, you are losing.
Yeah.
By definition. You know?
No, like I was just about to add on top of that. If you look at from rounds 2 through 5, Rolly was touching up Tank a lot, and I was really worried because, you know, if you look at the reaction that people had on Tank getting, you know, somewhat buzzed by Rolly's right hands, everybody was like super shocked, and Gervonta, like he was tagging Rolly, but Rolly wasn't feeling those shots because Gervonta, like, he didn't have his legs, you know, positioned. And, you know, his legs looked like that they were about to give out because Rolly was actually pressuring him. And, you know, this is like my biggest issue with Tank. Like, you know, imagine if you have somebody that knows how to box with that pressure that's bigger than you. How are you going, you know, to counter that type of style? Because I've never seen Gervonta fight like that. I've never seen him fight off of his back foot. You know, whenever, you know, he's trying to load up, you know, on a big shot, he always comes forward. He like he never comes backwards. He always fights forward because he like either one, he doesn't respect you enough, you know, with your power, and two, he already has his feet positioned to the point where, like, you know, he already knows how to set those shots up to actually hurt you. So, you know, the fact that he started fighting off of his back foot against Rolly just made me think that either one, when you meet somebody with power that knows how to use pressure, you don't fight the same way as you did. Because even with Pitbull, like Isaac Cruz, he was like, you know, there was times in that fight where Gervonta, he got touched with some really heavy loaded shots, and it looked like he was he was about to get knocked down. So
that's a great assessment, and actually it's crazy to hear that. Like when you look at the damage done to, like, Rolly did a whole lot of shots. So when Rolly did land the shot on Tank, he saw it, and then when he hurt him, he saw him hurt him. Tank even said, "Oh yeah, that's the power." With something, it's that big red star that he had on his head after Rolly cracked. And then when you look at the shot that you were talking about that wasn't hurting Rolly, that he was doing, where it was the straight shots. When we see Tank knock people out, it's typically with a hook shot. It's either an overhand or an uppercut or a hook of some type. His straight shot, his cross wasn't doing nothing to Rolly for real. Just like when he knocked Rolly out, it was a 6 or an overhand left. It wasn't a straight left. People just say straight left because that's the easiest thing to say. But yes, it was a left hand, but it was a moving overhand left hand, and that's where he generates a lot of his power, similar to Roy Jones. And even myself, like, I have fast straight shots, but my power is more so in the rotation of my hooking shots, similar to Tank. But it's like, unless he's gonna actually, because when you hear that a very solid thing, that he's not KOing these guys in the back. Yes, he did that to me, but in most of these other cases, he's coming forward. So that's what Tank. No, he's not a pressure fighter, but he was on the front foot getting the knockout. Front foot getting a knockout against Leo. Front foot getting a knockout against Gamboa. Front foot getting a knockout against all of the guys I can think of. But I like to see him baiting people in more so, like baiting Broly in more so because it required him to get hit less, but he's still getting hit in the process. So there's a duality with it. Like you're either going to balance, not you're going to balance. Like there's a duality. If you're going to move backwards, master how you're moving backwards, spar that way, practice that way, so that in the fight you're not just getting backed up until you return fire, because that's not controlling range and distance, getting backed up. Now, if you're using lateral movement and moving backwards to create angles to set something up, that's one thing. But if you're getting hit in the process, that can't be what it's called. Because if I'm looking at the other fighter, this other fighter is effectively backing you up. He's walking you down by definition, right? So I don't know what, like, besides not seeing Tank and Ryan at all, like, unless they're gonna fight Shakur and Devin and Frank Martin, Michelle Rivera, unless they're fighting top lightweights, I don't really care to see them, like, at all. Not see them speak, not see them on Twitter, not see them on Instagram. Damn sure not see them in the ring, because if I have to see Ryan Garcia fight another person that Golden Boy is introducing to the world, then, like, it's just put a nail in the coffin with his career, because clearly he hasn't and never will fight anybody. Like, clearly the Linares fight and the Jojo Diaz fights that can be made in-house, still haven't been made. Why? Because his superiors do not believe he's a good fighter. And if we go over to TMT side, we're not doing anything outside of TMT. Why? Because we don't want to risk with essentially selling all of this momentum we built with him to whoever can beat him. So if Devin is the guy to beat him, then why do we do all of this building up to him? To me, it's just like a big ass investment in a sideshow, or a big ass investment in a commercial that we never wanted to give. Like, you can fast forward, Evo, record and skip the commercial do so. It's just, I care about real boxing, you know?
Yeah. Speaking of which, how's everything with your, your boxing going? Got any updates with the fight?
Carno right now is looking. We were committed for a date, which was October 21st, and as soon as we agreed to the terms, they went silent on their end, and they didn't send a contract. So we're assuming that that's a dead opportunity, that October 21st. But that's not the only promoter throwing anything in October. So right now, on my end as a fighter, I'm getting over the inflamed rotator cuff, a couple other little health things, but I'm training, I'm sparring hard, actually, like really hard, and we're just waiting on what's next. I'm looking at MMA stuff. MMA is what I really want to kind of specialize in right now. We're just going along with whatever OG can find. You know, if you can find boxing, then we're going boxing. If you can find MMA, then we're going MMA. But just so the people are clear, like, probably after this fight, it'll probably be my last boxing match, and I'll be 100% focused on what I feel like I can make the whole LGBTC and all of you guys, my family, my supporters proud of, and that's being a mixed martial artist, you know. But right now, I just we're open to offers. That's the best way to put that. We're open to offers. We're ready. So if there's anyone out there who has a card, or they're looking for someone who's 0-1, we're entertaining anything right now. it's just we're looking for a next opportunity.
Nice. Keep me updated because I want to see you like on a big card, man. Like shit, I want to see you on the PBC. Whoever. I don't care.
Oh man, yes sir, yes sir. I definitely need to be in, and also you know it's more than just a fighter in the ring. There's always his team, his family. That's that's a part of it all as well. So if I'm on PBC as a hypothetical, we need you in the media in the building. So there's always gonna be two sides to every story. The family side and then the actual fighter side. So I agree. I'm hungry as maybe if not more hungry than you guys want are to see me back in there and to see these improvements. But I'm fucking eager to like hurt something at this point. Like my my small partners, the ones I've been working with, two of them are national champions on the amateur level. One of them is in transition to become pro now, and he's bringing down his weight. He's one of the bigger guys I sparred.
Oh,
And
nice.
yeah, so like yeah, I'm getting great work in, and I mean like we're working like I went back to the drawing board to work on the weaknesses, like the glaring weaknesses I had even before the fight. So I'm not trying to hype anything up, but you guys will see a new improved Michelangelo coming in. I
Yeah,
can't wait myself. So, I can't wait my damn self.
yeah, because like I can easily see you develop very fast into being like a very good fighter. I just think it's just like a matter of just getting better. That's all. So
Yes,
yeah,
I appreciate that, man. That definitely means a lot.
yeah, man. Anytime, man. Like I want to see you knock out Joshua LeBron in a rematch, man.
I want that rematch so bad. I'm not gonna lie to you. I just want to make sure that I don't even want to make sure nothing. I want the rematch. I didn't want to go back at it right away. Only because I didn't want him to go in with an overly confident, and I didn't want to go in overestimating my ability. I want to go in with actual adjustments made, with improvements made. Because I still feel even just going in, I could have beat that guy if I was settled and I boxed. Now I want to like guarantee when I have the rematch, I'm knocking him the fuck out. It's not no ifs, ands, or buts about it. You feel me? So that's why I'm like, I want that rematch, but I want to go into that rematch guaranteeing a victory for the family. Because I feel like that was a big setback.
Yeah, he didn't really sold to me on his performance either. But I can easily tell like if I was fighting him, I already know inside like my head how to beat him. You just got to break his body down. He's wide open for
Yeah,
that body.
that's a good point.
Yeah,
Because he definitely had his hands high. His hands protected his wrist. That's why.
yeah. He had his foot like I'm not too sure like if you can agree, but like when I was watching your fight with him, like yeah, like it kind of looked like he tried to put his foot over your foot to try to trip you while he was punching you.
He's good at. I will say he's good at uh, getting in range. So at the time, I couldn't even tell. I was able to tell that I bit hard on some points that allowed him to come in. Um, but he was good at getting in range and getting underneath me. Like getting that leverage from underneath. So I think like I wasn't so focused on his foot placement as much as I was focused on the shot that I didn't get caught with. And then when watching him, I was focused on okay, so he has decent feints, and and he fought off this defense first. So he literally went in there with like a similar game plan that I went in with, and now I'm curious to see what's behind that. You feel me? Because if we would have both came in fighting off more defense, meaning I'm baiting you to throw your jab and you're baiting me to throw your jab and we're moving, then I would have had to see more of his boxing ability at range. So I think he's naturally more comfortable on the inside, but not more comfortable than I am on the inside. It's just I think that's his wheelhouse in his mind. But I'm not certain about the foot placement. I do know, like, when fighting the southpaw, that was odd for me because I'm so used to the battle of the lead side, the right hand versus an orthodox person's left hand, and then the battle with the feet, my foot getting on the outside of his. But I think maybe not even him trying to step on, but just him trying to keep his foot in the proper alignment so that he has the maximum torque on rotation. And that's one thing that I don't think I even paid attention to like in the fight, which is probably why I don't have a real answer for that after.
Yeah.
Because I wasn't, like, everything was so bad with my feet and with my performance that I couldn't even tell if he was intentionally trying to, step on my foot or beat me at the feet. But I did see that, okay, he seen I came out aggressive, so he got tight. I was his first adjustment. And then he tried to, initially, the first few seconds, he tried to trade with me and he said, nah, I'm going to counter him. And that's what he did. So it was like I seen those two adjustments, but I was so angry that I wasn't even able to live in the moment. I was literally just trying to fight him like a hood nigga. Wasn't Sean Porter shit. Like, come here.
Trying to come in with like a football type of fighting style. Yeah, football.
Literally.
Football.
Sean Porter Payton looking at us like
Gary Payton. Like I saw this one PBC fight, some weird ass fucking, like, I don't even know like what fight it was, but it was like during like COVID, but basically both of these guys like hit each other at the same time and they kind of stumbled, but then they like went back at it and then they just started like, blooding, each other's faces up, and they had like this football type of style coming in, like, whoa! Like, dude, they were, oh my god, it was Rock'em Sock'em Robots, but it was such a fun ass fight until one of them got knocked out.
Oh shit. Yeah. And it's like, what's funny is part of it, like, when you're about, like, how Oscar Valdez would say, giving my fans what they want, part of that is kind of committing to ignorance, right? Because you're like, look, they want a knockout, and achieving the knockout, not chasing it, but in achieving the knockout, it comes with some risk taking and some trading and some exchanging. And if that's not your style, then you're conceding to a battle of ignorance. Now, me, as much as, like, I want to please the fans, I want to make people happy, I want to, like, deliver what Deontay Wilder delivers. Like, I'm not a Rock'em Sock'em Robots guy. Now, granted, I love to fight on the inside, I love to work the body, but that doesn't mean that I'm not a boxer. You feel me? In my head, like, I've always had a conflict with that. Like, there was always an internal conflict. Like, am I going to box or am I going to bang? And it always was, okay, I'm just going to bang. I'm just going to bang. Because not that I couldn't box, but the fact that banging always would be easily worked. But that's not going to always work, right? And neither boxing is always going to work. Because if you look at Sinner versus Hearns, like, there was a point where he had to sit down and say, fucking boom. Like, I'm going to put you out of there. Now, but Leonard boxes his way to those moments. And that is what I have to do. I have to box my way to these moments so that I'm not in that match that you just described. Because all of my sparring sessions before I went pro, all of my amateur fights before I, I got to this point was all rock'em sock'em robot, bang, go to the body, go crazy, Mike Tyson, trading. You feel me? And it's like that's not. There's no longevity in that. There's no IQ in that. Like no one can say you have a high boxing IQ if you're just running out there and getting and hitting back. Like a catch and shoot style is a stylistic thing, like that Isak Cruz has, but it doesn't mean that Isak Cruz isn't. I hate to use Isak Cruz. That's not the bad thing. Isak Cruz is like a hard puncher. That's what he does. His thing. You feel me? Like they perceive what Isak Cruz is doing is not boxing. Isak Cruz is boxing. He's just power boxing. And I feel like
it's inside pressure fighting.
Yes. And stylistically, I would consider myself like maybe like, well, I'm definitely a boxer puncher, but I would say more so like how a Tank fights. Like if I can't even say that because Tank, like if Tank was predominantly on his back foot or simply backwards instead of forwards, I would describe that as my point. Someone who can bait you in, counter you, and then move. But I have power so that I can bait you in, counter you, and end it, as opposed to just counter you and move. But I'm still working on finding my identity as a fighter and also mastering it.
Yeah, for me, I'm more of like a boxer puncher. Like, I could feel my shots when I'm actually hitting something, and it feels like bullets every time I'm like hitting on the bag. But I don't ever look for heavy ass shots. I actually like to be a sharpshooter, type of boxer puncher
Right,
fighter, and
right.
that's why that I love Errol Spence so much because I basically emulate off of his style and I mix that style with like Ronald Winky Wright and Tarver and Marvin Hagler in that regard because like I
Yeah, we
just
sound alike. We
yeah like
sound a lot
I like being a defensive Terminator type of fighter. You know what I'm saying? Like I like looking at the art of being defensively sound, and then when I hit you, it's basically game over. Like that's just how I like to
Yes,
operate.
we're speaking the same way. It's literally like, except you're more. We're literally saying the same thing. But it's like
Yeah,
I'm like, I like, but no, like literally everything I'm saying, I do. I did. I mean, like literally, Marvelous Mother and Hagler is my guy. I mean, I literally just was watching him versus Mustafa Ali last night. That's,
oh
'cause
yeah,
that's,
yeah.
I mean, and that's my rare. It's like that's my usual. Marvin Hagler and Stevie is who I watch on a daily basis. Like that's just regular for me. But I'm trying to incorporate a little more defensive ability, like Stevie and Tony, like James Tony. And Tony is a good way of describing the style that we is Tony is a pocket fighter. He will be inside the pocket. He is a boxer, but he is a puncher. He is lights out for a reason. So he'll make you miss and literally make you pay by getting you up out of there. And just like you were saying, when he connects, he's connecting with the velocity of a bullet, if you will. But that's coming off of being so defensively responsible that he's out of position from slipping or rolling or catching. So yeah, I like how you described yourself on the bag. It was just a lot more well put than the way I described myself. And again, it was in response to you said you seen that fight of Rocky Sock'em robots, and I think down in all fighters' hearts, like you want to have them. It doesn't mean you want to cut off your arm so that he can cut off his arm, but you want to see that like it's a gladiator sport, so you want to have that war and you want to put on a show at the Coliseum, but you want to be as smart as possible as well. And I think being meticulous about three-dimensional boxing, and that's distance, leverage, and timing, and the mastering of all three, and also the fighting defense to offense and offense to defense, the um, the cohesion of the subtle space in between what matters most. That shift has to constantly be uh, happening, literally shifting from offense, shifting to defense, or else it'll be like you said, that fight you've seen before, that rock we saw from Robot, because someone is going to concede to, okay, I'm gonna stand here and I'm just gonna fire back until you can't take anymore, and there's so much more to boxing than that. There's so much more, and I think that's why we as our boxing IQ raises find such scenarios like that so laughable.
Yeah, like I'm like I'm just that type of person where I just look at boxing like a ring of fire sport. Anything you do is like a cost of something that could basically damage you. So I look at it like I look at it as a as a necessity to make every decision making count. So therefore, you can be as meticulously intelligent as possible. So I mean, that's just how I am. Like I just enjoy the sweet science a lot.
Yeah, I do as well. Who So wait, did Luis Nery fight yesterday?
Yeah, he did. Also, Atifo Burlton, he fought yesterday down in Philadelphia. He knocked out that Christian Thomas guy. So, he's like that other black dude that was undefeated, but he knocked him out.
Gotcha. I'm glad to hear about Atif. Like I'm learning about the guy, and he seems to be really be with the shits. He's a little funny as hell, but he seems to really be with the shits. I seen him for the first time. I'm like, that's
Hey, don't be saying that. Maybe maybe some of his people could be hearing me. Who knows?
Yes, they might be on me like that too. They be like, wait,
be like, yo, K-Rod, don't be talking, behind like our backs.
No, it's not K-Rod. It's combat. It's Michelangelo doing it.
Go after.
I'm playing. I don't want no smoke with nobody unless you want the team. I want all of the smoke. I don't give a fuck which record it is. But no, like he seems to really be with the shit. As far as what I heard, like I heard about him. I hear him doing some shit, and his next fight was knocking somebody out. And he won or he lost.
He won. He knocked out his opponent.
Yes, good. I like to hear that about Pantera. El Panther or El Pantera?
Yeah, his nickname is El Pantera. El Pantera.
Pantera. Okay.
Yeah,
okay,
Pantera.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's solid. I like him. He's fast. He's strong. He reminds me of Linares, but young and with heavier hooks than Linares.
Yeah.
But he has that Linares retarded speed, like that lightning speed, man.
Yeah. Yeah, he's good. The only thing I just don't like about him is that he likes to stand inside of the pocket, on certain exchanges. So I would say move your feet around. Yeah.
That's why I relate him to Linares, because Linares, like literally put up them and still can be like one of the best lightweights out there. Wait, is he 140 now?
Who?
Linares? No.
Yeah, Linares, he campaigns at lightweight.
Yeah, he can be one of the best lightweights out there if he doesn't stay in the pocket. It's just stand in the pocket with and just stay with it, because he has so much faith in his speed and his accuracy. Now, granted, he's one lightweight.
Yeah.
Hang your hat on, speed.
Yeah.
That's where he lacks.
Yeah, he's always going back to old habits that gets him clipped and knocked out.
Or I'm doing.
AO Combat, look, I don't think I can hear you, man.
You can't hear me?
I can hear you now, but you were just chopping back and forth or chopping out.
Oh, sorry. I was saying it's always a pattern where he's either winning or he's hurting the guy, and then he gets hurt, and then the whole fight changes and he loses. And I'm always like, I've always been surprised by that, because I'm like, Linares is literally a great boxer. He's perfect at what he does, and then when you actually look at what his flaws are, which is like a major contradiction in the phrase I just said, because I just said perfect. But if you look at him on his offense, he is perfect. But then it's the return fire. It's when he shifts between offense to defense. When he's going off of his offense into his defense, he's not as elusive. He'll stand there to try to catch it and try to flip maybe one or two, or backstep one or two, and then give up on the backstep. It's like, keep backstepping until you remain out of range, or keep catching and rolling until they stop firing or fire back. You can't just only counter as your source of defense. You feel me?
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I think that's what that's what a lot of fighters have a lot of flaws in doing. They fall in love with getting into that high level, rock'em sock'em, pocket fighting, and I think that's just a detriment to get hurt. Because
yes,
to me at least, when I feel it in sparring, back when I did start boxing, like, back in 2019, but basically, I can understand why a lot of coaches say work on defense, because that defense really does help you a long way, because once you start figuring out those shots, and then you start making the opponent miss, and then you start being defensively technical, it's basically like a bad style matchup, because it's like you already know how to figure out the opponent.
Sorry.
No. I was just gonna finalize my statement to say, you already know how to figure out your opponent, and you have more leverage. So, that's why that I like this, defensively sound fighters.
Yes, because once, like, I'm learning it myself. I mean, focusing on it, drilling it as hard as I am now, to the point where it's getting nauseating and annoying as fuck. But it's like, the shots start to become predictable. You become naturally more elusive and more unpredictable. So it literally is everything that your offense is not. Literally everything that your offense is not. It's not just slipping, but the balance that you have, the spacing in between your feet, that's all literally defense. Because if we're talking about fundamentals, but it plays into your defense. Because if I'm slipping too deep to the right or left, if my balance isn't right, that's a hole in my defense, right? If I'm shifting, I'm shuffling to the left to try to get out of range because you're throwing straight shot. If my heels are clicking together, that's a flaw in my defense. There has to be a certain gait in between my legs, so that if you do land, I don't just collapse and fall over. That I can squat down and have a solid base. So there's so much that I'm learning in the just the nuances of shifting between offense and defense. Not that I'm learning a whole bunch new about defense, or I'm learning a whole bunch more about offense. It's just the shifting in between, and the subtleties of, like, and the nuances that the little things play, and how big a nuance can be a determining factor in winning or losing a fight. Just rolling with a shot can determine whether a person hurts you or not. Just knowing how to roll, right? Not rolling under, but literally rolling with a shot. can determine whether or not that shot shuts your brain off or the fight continues on, right?
Yeah.
So there's so much that I'm like, I mean, if we were to talk about the subtleties of boxing, we'll be rambling about it. But question, what is coming up this weekend? Because I know that there's fights this weekend, and I haven't looked at my schedule because I have a boxing schedule, but I haven't written down. I haven't looked at what I've written down. Excuse me.
For this upcoming weekend, we got Sebastian Fundora versus Carlos Ocampo, and then we got Chris Eubank Jr. versus Conor Benn.
Which one are you more interested in?
Should I watch Conor Benn knock out Chris Eubank? I don't like, I'm not looking for Fundora and Ocampo.
Reach, my brother. Yo, it's like, and why is it that we actually fell for the Eddie Hearn horrible promo gig? And it's not that we fell for it. It's just it's Conor Benn and Eubank versus Fundora and Ocampo. Like, I mean, come on. Like, Fundora and Ocampo, like Fundora, the biggest, if not the only one we can obviously look at and see as a weight bully in boxing, right? Versus Ocampo, who we haven't seen since his guts got poured out like Akira, like Tetsuo on Akira. Like, I'm so, like, why would anybody give a fuck about that fight? But the only people who care are hardcore Mexicans. So I get it, because that's like their guys. So I get that. And typically I would be on that side of, okay, let's watch the real boxing instead of the spectacle. But if we look at the real boxing in this scenario, we got Chris Eubank Jr. who Cadillac Red calls Roy Jones III. we got Roy Jones III versus Conor Benn, that boy. Like, Conor is, according to him, Conor been that boy. He been that dude. So, like, I don't know. Like, I like this fight because of what the competition is. Only because of Fundora being the only other thing going on that day. Now, I think the undercard, though, of Fundora may be way better than this one, only because I'm speculating. I have no clue. This is not fact. This is not a statement. I'm just assuming that the Fundora Ocampo undercard is going to be better, because I don't think you can do much worse than having Fundora and Ocampo on the card, unless you literally put, like, Joey Daweko on the undercard versus, like, the guy who got out of the ring with FBH Akbar.
Curtis Jackson. Curtis Jackson.
Yes. Like, that's the only way this could be a horrible undercard, But, like, when we look at Eubank Jr., like, the story is the only thing that's selling this fight. And Eddie Hearn was like, wait a minute. I have Eubank Jr. and I have Ben's boy. Why not make them a rivalry? And it's like, that just seemed like the dumbest thing in the world, seeing as they're separated by weight class, and two at times, because Eubank does compete occasionally. When his weight was not under control, he was competing at 168. Like, that is a fact. So, like, I look at Eddie Hearn as a terrible promoter, for one, because this will be another fighter he's willing to sacrifice if Eubank or Roy Jones Jr. is on his shit, or Roy Jones III is on his shit. Like, if he's really in his dog, like in his bag as a dog, and just destroys Conor Benn, then shame on Eddie Hearn, because this would have been just the replay of Kell Brook, right, versus Triple G. Now, if Conor Benn wins,
yeah.
Now, if Conor Benn wins, then we got what was supposed to happen with Kell Brook versus Triple G, and something that we haven't seen on Eddie Hearn's side. Like, we haven't seen Eddie Hearn promoting anyone yet who's just moving up in weight classes and making a tear. But Conor Benn, he's not going to move up after this, even if he does win. Now, if he did, I find that to be a better weight class for him than 147, because I got Virgil Ortiz destroying him. I got Speedy Rashidi Ellis outboxing him. I got Boots knocking him the fuck out. Like, we go below those guys. Give Tiger Johnson enough time. Tiger Johnson will punch a hole in his head. It's like literally a no-brainer. I think everyone who's anyone at welterweight beats him. Like, that's not Michael Fox. That's not shit. I think Ugas beats Conor Benn. Like, and it's not
Michael Fox would.
Sorry.
I was just gonna say Michael Fox would beat the crap out of Conor Benn.
See, thank you. See, I stand corrected.
Michael Fox. Shout out to Michael Fox, but Michael Fox is a bad style matchup for anybody that knows that they can't land a power punch on him. And once he takes that away from you and he starts embarrassing you with the jab, it's all over. It's like
I made a mistake. I meant to say Jamal James. I didn't mean to say Michael Fox. But Michael Fox is better. I know what you mean.
Jamal
James can possibly lose.
Yeah, he can possibly lose to Conor Benn, and maybe Abel Ramos. But if Abel Ramos hits Conor Benn, it's over. It's over.
Abel Ramos definitely. How can I overlook Abel Ramos? Abel Ramos is one of those guys who, if Conor Benn isn't 100% and isn't just on him throughout the whole fight, Abel Ramos is going to land something and it's going to hurt that boy. And then he's going to pounce on him. Because even the Abel Ramos Abel Ramos versus Ugas fight. Ugas was winning the fight. He was a little too strong for Abel Ramos. And then at the very end, Joe Goose and then Lennox Lewis were talking. And he's like, I don't know. I don't know, Lennox. If my guy won the fight, I wouldn't have him. Whoa!
Bro,
Ugas
almost looked like a Mortal Kombat character, like about to die. He looked like he was about to get brutality on the scene. Like Abel Ramos just landed like a Liu Kang fire kick right in his face, and he was like, like
that's exactly what happened. He was right there. It was like the last 10 seconds. And he went in and he caught him, and he just was like, his head was hanging in the ropes. That was the next thing he noticed.
Yep.
His head was hanging in the ropes. And I'm like, no. And literally, Joe Goose was like, told you. And I was like,
but this is why every welterweight knows that in the welterweight division, you have to have a chin and you have to have power. If you don't have either one of those things combined, then this is why people get knocked out. Like,
we're next. We talked about this last time. That is the makings of what welterweight is. It's literally.
Yeah, these aren't like small guys. Like,
sorry.
Like,
sorry.
I was just gonna add on top of that, like the welterweight division is not a small division. It's a very gigantic division. I look at 140 as like a boot camp division, and the welterweight division is like the death gauntlet division, where you see guys that have immense physique, but when you look at how they fight, they look like super soldiers coming into their matches. And if you don't have like a chin and you don't have like a strong power punch to your style, then welterweight division is a very destructive division.
That's facts. I mean, that's something we were talking about last time, and it was and one of the things I was saying before is it's literally probably as small as you can get to have as big of a punch as they have, and then as big as you can get to weigh as much as they do in rehydration. I mean, as small as you can get, it's as small as you can be to have as big a punch as they have, and probably as big as you can be to weigh as much as they weigh. Now, literally, they're not middleweights, but they weigh more and as much as middleweights. Fight Night, right?
Yeah.
And they hit as hard as middleweights, but they're not even junior middleweights, right? They don't hit even in a resemblance of the 140. Like there's a big power gap in between 140 and 147. Would you agree?
Yeah. Because at the
Because
middleweight,
these guys,
yeah, like
go ahead.
I was going to say, like, the difference between the welterweight division and the middleweight division is that welterweights hit like middleweights almost close to a heavyweight, and middleweights hit like a heavyweight up to a super heavyweight. So think about it. When you rehydrate into Fight Night, you are 20 times stronger coming into a fight rehydrated versus with all that weight and muscle mass that you had to cut to get to your weight. All that rehydrated weight is going to make you come in a lot bigger into that fight. So that's why like honestly, like I really wish, rehydration clauses were gone, because
me too.
There's for one, there needs to be a consolidation of weight classes, because that's why people want that's why people want that's why people make these stupid arguments for rehydration clauses in boxing, because their fighters are not disciplined to make the weight at at lower weights, so therefore they're mentally being irresponsible coming into their fights. So if you just consolidate the weight classes where it's easier to make the weight that you want to fight at, but don't be surprised when you fight somebody that's just as big as you, because that's how it should be.
Exactly.
You should be fighting.
See, you're on it. You're onto it.
Yeah.
Because most people don't. They're looking at it from a perspective of like, hey, the fighter's perspective is, I'm going to choose a weight class that gives me the rehydration advantage.
Yeah.
I can be bigger than the next guy.
Yeah.
But from outside looking in, the fans don't see that. The fans are just like, well, it's 125, so they're all fighting at 125. No.
Even
it's very rare that you find anyone who walks around close to their fight weight. Literally, I'm probably one of the only people that I know. Not probably, I'm the only person that I know who walks around as close to my fight weight as I do. The only other person who said that they should or that they do was Andre Ward and Floyd Mayweather. Now when I'm talking about my contemporaries, even the people I spar with don't walk around close to their fight weight. Everyone is cutting at least 15 or more pounds. 15 or more. Like, again, I was in a chat the other day. Manny Rodriguez bet on YSM Sports. He's 118, fights at 118, doesn't want to go up any higher, isn't sure if he can go up any higher, but he cuts from 145.
What?
Cool Boy Step.
What?
145.
Oh, get
yes.
yo, Manny,
Step.
move your ass the F up, man. Yo,
but
you mean to tell me you are cutting all the way from welterweight to bantamweight? What?
Schoolboy Steph, 150s to 122. He said this on television when him and Boots was calling some fight card that I was watching. He said I cut from 150s and was looking to the side as if he cuts a little bit more, basically making it seem as though he was lying. That was light work, that he probably cuts more. Jared Hurd, 200 something plus, up there doing touch spar with F.A. Ajagba, coming down to 154, and in his last fight coming down to 160. It's like I'm not surprised by it. The only thing that would surprise me is if there's someone like, and how can I leave off Bam Rodriguez? Like, Bam Rodriguez, if I'm not mistaken,
Jesse Rodriguez, he is not a small guy. He's definitely
exactly. But I've seen him in one of my videos that I made, and one of the videos that I made on my post-fight reaction to him, he was about 130 in that video. Me personally, I can't even. My body doesn't get to 130 pounds, and my last fight was at 122. But if I'm in this weight class properly, then I could be 150 according to Steph, right? So my walk around weight, proudly, I'll tell you, my walk around weight, because I'm never inactive. if I got on the scale right now, it's 124. So 124 to 115 is what?
9 pounds.
Yeah, that is a lot in my mind, right? But I haven't even gotten a chance to actually cut directly to my weight. I've been doing 118, 122. But 9 pounds wouldn't be bad compared to 30, 40, 50 pounds that these guys are cutting. They're literally cutting off whole legs. You know what I mean? Like a whole leg's worth of weight of their body. And you wonder why their whole training camp is in a tournament. And you wonder why they say the most popular phrasing in boxing, not Martin Hagler's term, not Mike Tyson's term, the silk sheets and you get hit once in the face and plan and blah blah blah. Not that, but the weight cut was the hardest. I mean, was the biggest fight. Is now the most popular term in boxing. The weight was the real battle, or the weight cut was the hardest part of the camp. Like, it's because you're not fighting in your actual weight class. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, in the amateurs, I was able to fight in 7 different weight classes, not because I was able to move up and manipulate my weight and all of that. No, it's because whenever I got down to like my peak, and I'm at my peak and I'm training, I was 112 pounds. So I would fight there, or I would try to fight there. I only got one fight there, and I was at 122. And then I had a fight at 118, 122, 126. The fight at 130, I was 124. The fight at 145, I weighed in with everything on, all of my clothes on, including my shoes, and even then, I came up to 127. Take all of that off, after the fight, I was 118, fighting a 145 pounds.
Wow.
So I've always hated weight bullies, and I've always looked sideways at these people and how they cut weight. But I can literally go on a tangent of many fighters. My favorite, Earl Spence, said he cut from 180 to 147. One of these camps, he said he can't do that anymore. The Sean Porter camp, he said, was a fat camp. So he cut from 170s or something like that in that camp, according to him, which clearly was a lie. Because 170s to 147, you add 3 pounds to the 147, that's 20 pounds.
Yeah.
23 pounds, he cut more than that. Sean Porter cut more than that. But Boots Ennis, again, I may have said this last time in the Ray Robinson fight, the man had to be 200 pounds in the corner when he was eyeing Ugas. He wanted to fight Ugas right in the middle of Ray Robinson. He had to be 200 plus pounds then, or not plus, but 200, 190 pounds then. So, Erickson Lugin, we've seen him get that big. So it's like,
yeah,
I actually,
I actually ran into Erickson Lubin, when I was at that top ranked fight card, for my very first fight, for the Joe Smith Jr. Steve Geffert card. But yeah, basically, when I ran into Lubin, he was a very big person. I was way bigger than him, but just by looking at his athletic physique, he didn't look like an actual 154 pounder. He actually looks like a middleweight.
Right.
Yeah, middleweight, super middleweight.
And it's weird because it's like when you see middleweight standing next to heavyweights, can you really see that it's a middleweight when they're standing next to a heavyweight? Or does it look like a heavyweight next to a light heavyweight?
Yeah.
Or a heavyweight next to a cruiser. It's hard to tell when you see, once these guys are over 5'10", they all start looking the same. The heavyweights start looking like the cruiserweights, until you get to that astronomical heavyweight size, Wilder, Fury, and all of those guys. Those guys are clearly just, they don't make humans bigger than them. You know what I mean? So you'll be like, yo, if I see anybody bigger than that, then there has to be a weight class higher than heavyweight, right? But when I look at Danny Garcia in his off season, I'm like, fuck, that dude is big. But if I see Danny Garcia No. I see Danny Garcia in his offseason. I'm like, that dude is big. But if I see Artur Beterbiev in the offseason standing next to a Joey DeWeco, is it going to look like they're in two separate weight classes? No. It's going to look like they're both heavyweights. You feel me? So that's why I'm like, when I look at the weight game, I'm like, some of this should be more of a height class than anything. Like, this is being real. Some of it should be more of a height class because it seems like people can squeeze a lot more weight onto their skeleton when they're fighting. Like, not squeeze more when they're fighting little or taller guys. It's just like, it seems like there's always a weight advantage or disadvantage when it's a tall guy versus a shorter guy, because we see the weight disparity there. Whether it's the small guy having more weight or the tall guy having more weight, you kind of see it a lot more obvious there than we do when they're closer to height. Because it's hard to see someone bullying you and goddamn near the same size. You know, it's like when Joshua LeBron had me by 10 pounds or something like that. We couldn't call him a weight bully because I'm taller than him. You know what I mean? And frame-wise, we were about the same size. So you wouldn't have been able to see the extra 10 pounds, you know? But if he had me by a foot, then you'd be like, damn, that dude's pretty big. Like, are they the same weight class? Because when they rehydrate at that point, or when we rehydrate at that point, you would see our real body size, not the body size we're trying to make for a few seconds, but our real body size, you know?
Yeah. Like for me personally, like, you know, I don't, you know, believe in weight bullies in boxing because, you know, you still have to sacrifice, you know, a lot of that muscle for the body fat being burned. So therefore, you have more of a chance of hurting yourself, you know, in a fight, like, you know, versus with the person that's going down to that weight. So like, for me, for instance, you know, I'm a natural, you know, heavyweight, but my actual weight for my height, because I'm 6 feet tall, I'm actually supposed to. Yeah. I used to be really athletic back in high school, but my natural certified weight for all the body fat being taken out of like my body would be around, I believe, 190 pounds exactly. That's for, you know, like a person that's 6 feet tall, but, you know, like, you know, as you get older, that obviously, you know, will, like, you know, slightly increase over time. But, you know, my actual like perfect weight would be like 215 or lower. So I would actually have, you know, a lot more muscle, but, you know, like as far as like body fat, you know, I'm not really supposed to be like over 300 plus pounds. Like, you know, that's just all right. Like, you know, excess weight. And I mean, like, you know, if you look at like,
see, but
yeah,
if you took that same philosophy and then you put yourself in Pandora's shoes, how could there not be weight bullying? Because clearly he doesn't walk around at 154, and if you stripped your body of all of its fat, it'd be 190. So clearly you're a dense, muscular man.
Yeah.
You started cutting into that muscle from 200 to 154, and then you rehydrate up, and somehow, like, you've tortured your body to get down to that weight. You made that weight. Granted, you probably hurt yourself in some way, shape, or form, but you rehydrate back up another 30 pounds the next day, and you're 6 foot, and you're fighting people on average 5'8" and 5'9". I mean, I think you would be able to do a lot of bullying with the weight. You feel me? With the height and the weight, because that's 30 pounds, not more than they have, but that's 30 pounds on a frame that's not even meant for this weight class. You feel me? Like a height, like that's literally like how Ray Vargas is at 126. Like, he's not a 126 pounder, but he can make 126 for one day.
Like he's
And
supposed
he
to,
rehydrates.
like naturally, he's supposed to be like a welterweight because
Right.
yeah, he
And
has all
Honduras,
that.
I think
Yeah,
he's supposed to be a middleweight or high. I mean, not a middleweight, but a light heavyweight or higher. Like he's 6'6". He's 6'6", 154 pounds, and he lied to them people saying that he walks around at 165 pounds more than what 6 pounds more than what his weight class limit is, and basically 5 pounds or 4 pounds less than what I walk around at over my weight, and I'm more active than these boxers. They're getting money. They'll be like, they don't have to be active in their off season. They actually get fat. So I know I'm more active than them because I work. I do more things throughout the day.
yeah.
So for him to say he gains less weight than me in between fights, but he weighs more than that the night of the fight is a bold-faced lie. Because how can you rehydrate more than you weigh before you start cutting? It's impossible. Like it's your body won't allow you to get bigger than what it considers its biggest. It's literally like, say your limit is 205 right now. You cut down to 160, and then you trying to put weight back on in a day. You get up to 225. It's impossible.
Yeah,
Your body will not allow it. You will die somehow.
Yeah.
You know. So I feel in that way they hurt themselves more than they hurt the other opponent is when they try to force the rehydration. But I do believe in weight bullying whenever you got guys who can barely make the weight. They only make the weight that day, like how Shakur tried to do. Like, and it's no offense to Shakur, it's just that's a Tank type tactic. Like that's why Tank missed weight a few times, because they wait until the last minute to try to suck it all out, because it's a behind the scenes saying that you only have to make that weight one time, and that's the night of the weigh-in, because in the night of the fight you don't weigh that. So that's like a fat boy trick is what I call it. You know what I mean? Where it's like when I got down to Florida, I was on weight and I was eating. Literally, I was 117 when I got down to Florida.
Wow.
The liaison who was working on behalf of Kanu Local took me to go get something to eat. He's like, no. There's a pound and a half like leeway clause and da. I'm like, what you talking about? I'm not even weighing yet. I'm not eating nothing. Like, what are you talking about? He's like, no, you gotta eat, man. The fight is at 122. I'm like, what? Like, so it's like, literally, like, I'm just like, I get what it's like to be on weight, a fight week, and actually be on weight. Like, I see it with Devin Haney. Like, if you look at Devin Haney, you'll see it in Devin Haney. He's always like breaded, got the cheekbones showing, his face is showing fight week. To tell he's going through some shit because he's on a diet at that point. Where you got like Tank, he'll be kind of in hiding until literally it's time to make weight, and then you'll see him. He'll have that fluffy face again, you know, because
yeah.
And granted, it's part of the game. It's part of the game, but these guys are doing more than just rehydrating up to where they feel they're safe and they feel they're healthy. They're literally trying to guarantee I weigh more than that guy. Like, that's a psychological and physical advantage in their heads. And it does seem to play out, because for people like Tank, who goes through entire training camps not on weight, why do you think he hits like someone who's not in his weight class? Because he's not in his weight class. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, he's not a 135 pounder. He's never 135 pounds until that one night. And other than that, we'll see him 145, 140, all of that shit. Like, granted, he's been better on his weight, but we've seen Tank upwards of 170 before. So, yeah, I disagree about weight bullying. But I do feel all of the weight bullies will at some point meet their match, because they all have. You know?
Yeah.
I do feel that to be true. Because like and granted, I'm not saying that that's fact. That's my opinion on why I disagree. But it's not that, you know, like in someone else's mind, like not you or I. they may agree that you're right. There's no such thing as weight bullying because, hey, it could be my fault that I'm walking around 115 for a fight that's 115 all week. You're like, well, what's the point? You only have to make that weight that night. So why are you walking around that light? Well, I feel it's a lack of professionalism to be guessing about your weight, to be having a workout or jump rope or sit in the sauna the day of or the day before your fight. I find that unprofessional. But the next man might find that as intelligent, so to each their own, to be honest.
Yeah, like I was also gonna bring up like some other topic, in regards to weight bully conversation. Like I had this like one argument with this one guy on Artman Boxing's channel. Like I'm not gonna bring up his name, but basically
he's a fuck nigga. You don't got to, cause
no.
Oh, okay. So,
no. He's an okay.
Fuck everybody. That's how I feel.
Like he's a he's a okay person, but he was trying to like basically try to tell me how Amanda Serrano was like a weight bully because like
no way in hell.
He brought up at the time where she went down to 115 to get like a title at super flyweight, and then she went all the way back up to like featherweight, and I'm like, well, number one, Amanda Serrano has always been a naturally smaller lady, but the only but the only reason why she probably ever took advantage of that opportunity was because that one, she either wanted to get a title, for like a quick payday, or two, she just saw like the opportunity to just go down and take that fight because they were like this person was like trying to tell me like, well, if you want to fight better opposition, then just move up in weight. But it's like fighters don't do that. Like, especially fighters that are not naturally, naturally able to move up in weight and like
naturally bigger individuals.
Yeah,
because you have to be able to cut some weight to get to that weight class. And if you think of Amanda Serrano, he literally just made a post saying he's talking about 126 and why it was great for her. I was, again, you see me standing next to her, and she was smaller than me, and I was 119. So
yeah, she's not even that big.
Yeah,
like I'm way, I'm way bigger than her.
Yeah, like I said, bro, I was standing right next to her, like literally.
But
she wasn't even in camp at the time, bro. She was after and before the age. Like she still like had to weigh less than I did. So for her to be down to and call her a weight bully makes no sense because no offense, but I guarantee you walks around every day than I do, and he cuts down to the same weight class that I do, which is the weight class that Amanda Serrano cut down to.
Yeah,
so
that's what I.
If is not a bully, then she is not a bully.
Yeah, but that's why the argument falls apart because if everybody fought at their natural weight, then you wouldn't be able to get away with all these knockouts because you would have to be you would have to be hitting somebody extremely hard to actually hurt them. If they have just as much muscle mass and dexterity, punch resistance to actually handle you. So to me, at least, I just see it from like a physical standpoint that if you can't take shots from people that are just as big as you, then that means that the fighters that you're fighting that are smaller than you, they are most likely fighters that shouldn't be fighting, at the weight class that you're fighting at because, you're basically fighting people that are unnaturally smaller than you.
You're speaking all facts, bro. Because
yeah.
When you actually look at it, like, are these guys extremely hard hitters, or are you fighting guys that are 2 weight classes smaller than you? Just like you said, like, am I fighting people who are actually my size, or am I fighting people who are too big for me or too small for me? It all comes into I think, just like you said, like fighting at your actual weight and consolidating weight classes, because I feel like it's more of a new thing to be hiding and moving around weight classes, how Tank does, and how a lot of these guys are doing now, like moonlighting at certain divisions and coming down as you grow, and like people seem to be, to me back in the day, people would just pick a weight class, fight at it. If they're great, they're great. If they're not, they're not. But that was their weight class, and that's what they contended. Whether they were a big puncher, whether they were not so big a puncher, whether they were a great boxer, that's where their body fell, and that's where they fought. And it's like, when you look at these guys nowadays, there's so much asterisk and adaptability and flexibility that goes into it, where they're like, well, I'm a lightweight right now, but we'll see in the near future, I'm gonna skip this weight and end up at 148 and 147, and you know what I mean? Like, I don't feel like any of these fighters have true confidence in them and their ability at being where they belong, not just where they feel they have the advantage to be great, to be considered great. Because anybody can cut corners and take a shortcut or an alleyway to get somewhere special. But to actually take the stairs like somebody like Deontay Wilder has done, that's why he gets so much praise, because he's fighting people who have about 20 to 60 pounds. You know, he's fighting people who are naturally big punchers or naturally better boxers, and regardless of what backstory, regardless of what skill set you have, he's still trumping it. He's still finding a way to destroy it and win. And in all of the other weight classes, there seem to be so many different things in my scenario to protect us from the BS that Deontay had to go through, and we still can't live up to be an iota of what that man is. So
Yeah.
I feel like the whole boxing community has a lot of stepping up to do, like as far as athleticism, as far as manhood, as far as humbling themselves. Like Keyshawn has taught us that over the weekend. Like, goddamn, if you can't lean over and suck your own dick, like if you literally can't lean over and suck your own dick, he showed us you can. You know what I mean? He's literally showed us you can.
Yeah, he's just a coon, man. I don't like him.
Yeah, I'm not a fan of the guy. Of his mentality. I don't like that mentality and being a cheerleader like that. And also, I don't like the mentality of talking shit and not being able to stand on it. Like, I made a Bam Rodriguez video, and granted, I believe a little bit of spice to it, but I didn't take it down because me and Bam is the same weight class. Like, at the end of the day, I'm going to have to see that dude. And I want him to have seen my shit. And I want to be the guy that can knock him the fuck out. You know what I mean? Like, I'm not on no...
Yeah.
I'm on some... It is what it is. You feel me? And I'm going to stand on it. And that's who I am, because I believe in being a man of character. Whereas I think a lot of these people are just like shifty ass bitches. Like, I think that's the only way you can describe it. Like, shifty ass bitches. And it's like, you got him to this day with all of this shit. Not they say, he seen was talking all of this shit. But then I hear that he gave not too long. Like, right after that. Like,
Yeah.
talking shit about each other, taking a picture with him. Like, after saying that Bud wants to move with him, or you know, or Jimmy Brother wants to move. Like, what is it, bro? Is we beefing or is we not beefing? He beef come to me on that shitty stuff, I'm gonna smack the fuck out you. And then if you got a problem, I'm gonna fist whip the fuck out you. And then if you're people, you have everybody getting shot. So I'm just saying, like, I don't get that this young nigga mentality that the whole world got. Like, they got this real young nigga mentality. Like, y'all think like children until it's time to face consequences. You know what I mean? I think TB said called YouTubers who jump out the window, they're NBA young boys that get locked up.
Yeah, I mean that's why that I hate like a lot of these dumb retarded casual boxing fans because they be like wanting to like act like that they're tough and shit, but it's like when they when they see you in real life, 9 times out of 10 they're not gonna fight you because they've never laced up like a pair of gloves, and most people that talk shit about other fighters, like especially fighters that are on the coincidental versus fighters that are hopeless fighters, they just end up talking like a lot of dumb shit that gets themselves knocked out in real life. But I mean,
yeah, and it's like, and to think that like, granted, if I'm talking about a boxer, in most cases, I have my analysts try to be respectful as possible and just analyze boxing. If I have a problem with a person, it's rare that it's not rare. I'm not gonna make a video about it. I'm just not. I don't get all of that. Like I didn't get what Keyshawn's objective was by getting on the video and then spazzing the fuck out. But then at the same time claiming I'm only 6-0. It's like
yeah.
Frank Martin said, hey, your little 6-0 ass ain't stepping on shit over here. Ain't stepping on shit over here. So I like what was the whole rant for? What was it for Rolly? I guess it wasn't for Rolly because
no, it was just
talking about fighting Rolly in the ring. You're talking about fighting Rolly outside the ring. So like, what did you get from the whole getting on in front of your computer and ringing at the camera like that? Like what did we gain from it? We gained nothing. We gained more camera time from somebody who wants camera time. But what I did gain was a video that I didn't see before that, and that was his Olympic video where he was talking shit with them weird ass eyes, glaring like I'm up next and I'm that guy. Clearly, when he lost, when the guy behind him pop locking and dancing and shit. I seen that video. So all he did was draw negative attention to himself. Literally draw negative attention, clown attention, because then you had Snoop and Kevin Hart reenacting it. So it's like you wanted to have a name for yourself, and now you got a name for yourself. Little shitty cuz, little clown cuz, who act like a weirdo for the camera, and fight motherfuckers who got over 10 losses sometimes come out. You know what I mean? So I'm just like, these guys need to really simmer down some. Simmer down just some. Because I don't see, like, I know what the goods are. I can see when somebody got the goods. Just like you can see when somebody got the goods. Like, we all know what the goods are. But none of these guys are that great to be that cocky. Trust me, like, don't get cocky is a phrase in anime for a reason. Like, there's no reason for these guys to be walking around like that. Like, I don't see why we can't have more champions like that. Like, quietly confident, or like Frank Martin, or Earl Smith, who's quietly confident and with the shits. Like, even Jamel Charlo to me doesn't come off as cocky. Jamel Charlo comes off as explosive. You know, he comes off as confident, but he comes off as explosive. He doesn't come off as cocky like this. Or, and if he does to some people, he doesn't come off as unbearably cocky. Like how these clown ass new niggas, bro. It just be like, that's how you really feel about yourself? Then I don't think your girlfriend can like you. Like, I like, if you love yourself that much, then how does your girlfriend feel about you? Or how does your mom feel about you? Because I just don't think there's that much love in the world that you can love yourself that much. They love you that much. And you are the only person, though, who believes you're like the unbeatable best shit in the world. You know what I mean? But without having proved it, only being 6-0, or only being a prospect, or only being this. None of these new names have proved to me that they deserve a copy or deserve to be that disillusioned or you know, disconnected from reality. Like,
yeah. I mean, I don't. I don't disagree. You know, that's why, like, you know, I just like talking to fighters that, that, just come in with like a clear head, in the sport, and they're not thinking that they're gonna be like the ultimate badass taking stuff over because it's a very difficult road, and it's like a Tekken journey. Nothing is
Yes, like a
guaranteed.
Tekken journey. You're fighting to be the man throughout, but you gotta make it through the tournament first, right?
But see, this is why. Like this is why that I told you the other time me and you talked when there needs to be like tournaments in boxing, but like minus like sanctioning bodies and promoters in the sport. Like imagine it at a at a fully marketized level in that setting of Tekken. That would be so awesome that fighters wouldn't have any reason to say what they have to say, because everything would have to be backed up by fighting those those opponents.
I agree 1,000%. Like why haven't we gotten here yet where we know what fights are coming next and we don't have to announce them? Because in the second style tournament we would know, right? Like there's those lines that'll connect. This person got knocked off, there's a little scratch to his name and then moves up. It's just like a Mortal Kombat. You'll see these two connect them.
Yeah.
It should be that simple. Literally, it should be that simple.
Yeah.
It should be paying for call-outs because shit, you gotta fight Michelle Rivera next, or you gotta fight Nonito Donaire next. So I wouldn't call nobody out, right? You know what I mean? Like there's so much, and not even about the call-outs per se. It's like you can be saying, "Oh, ain't nobody fucking with me," and you just entering the tournament. Shit, there's people that already won this bitch. that ain't saying that, and they're entering again. You know what I mean? So I really want, we all want the best to fight the best in UFC games. It's just like my biggest pet peeve, and I hate to drag on about it. I do apologize. Is cockiness, cocky fighters, and yeah, like I think I'm gonna take pleasure in my personal life.
Yeah.
So we got Conor Benn and Pandora, and then we got. Does Conor Benn have anything interesting in the undercard on their side of things?
Nothing really. I mean, you got like a bunch of weird, British fighters that don't really have that much, skill set, but I'm not really too hyped on it.
Yeah, me either.
Yeah, but I mean.
Oh no, I was thinking Gary Russell. Gary Russell fights close to the 20th, right?
Yeah, October the 15th on the yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, Gary Antonio and Manny, they fight on October 15th.
Okay. Well, this week is pretty ass, huh?
Yeah, so I mean, once Wilder comes back, everything's gonna be pretty lit.
Yeah, right now this week is pretty ass for it. Huh?
Yeah. I mean,
yeah, we have fights to look forward to, but it's like, is it to look forward to? Like, you know what I mean? Like, it's on. we love boxing, but like, are we looking forward to Conor Benn versus Eubank? I wouldn't say. Like, I mean,
no.
They're still most domestic level, British level domestic talent. Like Conor Benn lost to George Groves. Like,
don't you mean Chris Eubank?
Excuse me. I just caught what I said.
Yeah, Chris Eubank lost to Groves.
Yeah, and Conor Benn hasn't been tested. I mean, his biggest win was Algieri, right? Or what Van Dillon.
Yeah, Chris Algieri.
Yeah, I know he got Chris Algieri, but was that the one that I have it on my YouTube? I could have sworn he beat Van Dillon too. But no, he didn't. Because I know that him and Boots fight ended in a cut, but I thought he came back and fought them on that card, and that's why I filmed it. But no, that might have been Chris. Yeah, so.
Yeah.
So who do we got after that now?
After that, if I'm not mistaken, I believe we have Who else is fighting? I forgot who's fighting in October.
I just realized IG. I can close my bad. I could have been went to my schedule. Hold on, I can tell you. Sorry, I just realized I was on IG caller and I could press home on my phone. So, as Luis Martinez. Oh, we got Martinez on Cajas on October 8th for the Wilder.
Yeah, they're fighting on the Fundora card. I know that.
Oh wait, that's that card. Okay, so that's the one I'm looking forward to. Fuck that one. And we were just talking about what again? I'm looking at the schedule now. So we were talking about what date?
For October 23rd, right? Or
okay, yeah, I got Gary Antonio versus Emmanuel Rodriguez should be on October 29th, not the Wilder card. Did he get moved to the Wilder card?
Oh, really?
Yeah, on my schedule it says that.
Oh, wow.
Did it get moved from that, or was it supposed to be on that?
That's what I heard. I thought that fight was supposed to be on Wilder, Helenius.
Let me go back to because that it might be on Helenius. I mean, it might have got moved from that date to the Helenius. But I see that there is a Chopping Cheating card too that's coming up at the end of the year. But let me go back. I see he's been posting dates lately. I just can't. It's not coming to my mind right now.
Yeah, because I could have sworn that they were fighting on the Wilder, Helenius card.
See, I know that. I'm pulling them up, man. I know that. Yep, you're right. It's Walter. Yep, October 15th. You got it.
Yeah, man, I can't wait. I can't wait.
Why not I get?
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to that because he's been one of the best at 118 for a while now in my mind and in my eyes. He's always been slick, always been aggressive, and he's getting like really close to a title opportunity. So I'm very excited for him, man.
Yeah, I think
fighting. I think too. I might end up fighting if he doesn't keep getting bigger. Like he keeps he's 118, but you can see he's getting bigger now. Like I'm looking at him on his page right now.
Yeah, Manny.
I can. Gary and
Gary.
Antonio.
Yeah.
Gary. I'm on 115 right now, but at some point, and it's like he's getting a little bigger. Like even though he's the smallest of the brothers, he's getting a little bigger.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, let's go back to the schedule because I do that because I know you might have some shit like this and people I don't want to talk about. Let's talk this October 15th card. So triple header if you will. So Bumgarner Mayer, who you got?
Man. I got like Alicia. I think Alicia, she can edge it out against Michaela, but I think Baumgartner, if she's coming in really like undisciplined in this fight, then Michaela might get the victory, but it's not going to be easy because.
Sorry.
Yeah, I was just gonna finalize to say Michaela she has more pressure on her shoulders than Alicia does. So, however she looks at this fight, thinking that Alicia is not gonna do anything to her, I don't see that to be like a thing. I really see the fight being, not as easy for Michaela compared to Alicia, because Alicia, she been wanted to fight her, so she already has her figured out, in the fight, playing inside her head. But I think as far as the style goes, Michaela, she's way too flat-footed, and she just has a lot of how should I say? She has a lot of deficiencies in terms of being hit too much. So if if Alicia, if she just outboxes her the entire fight, then that's all that she needs to do. She doesn't need to like go in there trying to prove a statement to knock her out. I mean, if you can knock her out, go for it, but don't look for it.
So you don't think? So you do think Alicia's the overall better boxer, not just a better fighter, or not just a stronger fighter?
Yeah, I just think she's just like I just think that she looks to be like the better boxer.
Okay. See, now I see it almost identical, with the exception of I think Mikaela Mayer is a better boxer. I think she has underrated boxing ability. Something I feel like her boxing ability gets slept on. I think she may be in a lab working on things that may shock us. Like looking at now, you are the defense side medicine, baby Taylor, right?
Yeah. Like I felt like Amanda destroyed her.
Easily, right?
Yeah, destroyed her.
So I can't really pull anything out to say like, hey, would you consider Amy better at this? Because I wouldn't, and you wouldn't. So it would be a bad example. But I'm like, I think Alicia Baumgartner may have too much dog in her, and may have already conceded the boxing. You know what I'm saying? Like she may have so much attack in her that I don't think she's coming in to know how to just not just, but how to temper her together. You feel me? Like she may come in so ready to knock her down. That's all she wants to do. And if you look at Conceição Shakur, there we go. Conceição Shakur. When I look at Conceição, I feel like when we all look at Conceição, we all know that Conceição is a better boxer than what we showed in our Shakur fight, correct?
Yeah.
Or better fighter. Would you agree?
Yeah. And Shakur, he got pieced up really bad on that fight because a lot of people think
Shakur, and I think Shakur even looked better than how he looked in that fight. And Shakur is a great fighter. I just think, but if we're comparing these guys to those girls, I would say in this scenario, I'm worried that Alicia Baumgartner can come out there trying to be Conceição, and Mikaela Mayer's experience with a lot with playing the boxing and her slickness. Not that she's extremely slick, but that's what I've heard, like her experience in the boxing game more than Baumgartner playing to like Baumgartner would be like that. Better. I think these things could be the telltale sign if she's not knocked out. If Mikaela doesn't get knocked out, Mikaela could outbox Baumgartner because Baumgartner is trying to have I don't want to say a bitch fight, but like she's trying to have a dog match. Like, and Mikaela Mayer, I feel like I do feel Baumgartner has this fight. I do feel Baumgartner is going to have. I like Mikaela Mayer, and I'm trying to see it from both sides.
I used to like Mikaela, but to me, like she, like I feel like she's been gaslighting her, her hype off of like the career victories against opponents that really never brought her to like actual deep waters and made her feel tested. And the only the only fighters that I could say that, the only fighter that I could say that really gave her like her biggest test in which she got hit, the most was against that Maiva Hamadouche lady, and she had all the advantages to outbox her, but she never used any of it. She just wanted to just go blow for blow for her. So I just think like how she's been, progressing throughout her championship run. She hasn't been using a lot of defense. She's just been using like this like walk you down type of style, but I just don't see that being effective because how she gets hit a lot, she's been stunned multiple times, and her chin doesn't look really strong to take a good shot. So, if Alicia sharpshoots her with deadly shots that could really hurt her, then I just don't see Michaela really getting up because she shows a lot of weakness in getting hit with the same shot over and over, and I don't see this boxing ability that she uses a lot because most of her fights she's just been coming forward. She hasn't really been fighting off the back foot. Try to switch it up with the angles. Try to use her jab a lot, which she should be doing that if she's the taller fighter. And she claims that she has all this amateur experience from the Olympics, in which she got smoked out in the Olympics. But it's like I just don't see that. It's like her style is not really made to actually get a lot of victories. If you put her up against any male style type of fighter that has the ability to take those advantages the way that she carries now, at the super featherweight division.
Now, do you think she's gonna fight that way?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. See, now that makes sense for why you think Alicia's going to win. Now, that's where I get confused, because I'm like, I agree that she does come forward a lot, but that's typically when she's stronger than the other girl. But she doesn't. I don't think she was like, she hasn't articulated at all that she's going to dog walk the dog. She's basically said she's going to box. I expect her to not be coming forward to using lateral movement.
Yeah.
And being as frustrated as Opportunity has been just in the fucking rollout and them in their communication, like how like she got tongue tied at times just off of I feel like if I could do that in the rollout, and granted I've seen her Caleb Mayer on screen, what's her intention. So she was effective as well. Now I'm not saying Taylor's like, I still have to think about that, people, but I'm just looking at it from the perspective of if Bumgarner does not knock her out.
I don't think that's gonna matter though, because Alicia's probably not gonna think about that. She's gonna think about making this fight a boxing match, and then if I can hurt you, then hurt her. You don't have to go for the knockout. She's not gonna have to really use her power that much. If anything, she should use the same tactic that Errol Spence used against Lamont Peterson. Just basically lure Michaela into a really bad shot that she doesn't see coming, and then she gets obliterated with that power punch.
Yeah, but coming off such a victory was announced to the world as a country, and now that's coming. It's hard to get away from that, especially if in town. That's why I'm not saying but that's probably been the highlight of camp, because that's highlighting in this rollout of power. You can't undersell the power in this, so to not even think about it and have it shows that she would definitely have some serious power, but then to not think about it and get Michaela Mayer out of there would be that much more impressive. So I just actually give my assessment. I don't think Bumgarner and knock her out. I do think Bumgarner will win. You know what? I'm gonna go out on a limb. It'll be a draw. It'll be a draw.
Yeah, well, I don't think Michaela has that much power to begin with anyway, because she's never met anybody with deadly power yet. She's met a lot of women that have volume punching power, but even in her toughest victory against Maiva Hamadouche almost stopped her. just just with a flurry of punches. But imagine if Hamadouche, if she had boxing ability and she started working those power shots to the body and just broke Michaela down with counter punching ability technique, then she definitely would have stopped her, or she would have hurt her a lot more. But then on top of that, women are fighting 2-minute rounds, so it's like
which is why their style is determined the way it is.
Yeah, because it's like, Michaela, she's not she hasn't been put through like a 3-minute fight in any of her fights. So if all these ladies were put in 3-minute wars, then I guarantee you, Michaela wouldn't be performing the way she does, because she's just looking to gain points off of her flurry of punches. But she's not going in there to stop somebody. She's going in there to just land whatever punches she could land. And I just look at her style to be like a very lazy, like come forward type of style with like no proper technique thrown with her punches. She just throws punches that lands, and she just runs with it. It's just like she's not being smart.
She's better than that, bro. Huh? He's talking that shit, man. She's better than that.
No. Like, that's just how I see out of her, because she fights she fights like a very a very sloppy version of like a who's that one fighter that that was touted to be good, she fights like Kelly Pavlik, but she's like a very lesser version of him. Like, she fights very
what you're saying, but I think that's a pattern that we see in a lot of guns.
Yeah.
Throw your hands kind of.
But
man, I think he has a lot more to give. I just think. Sorry, go ahead.
No. You do agree that if women fought 12-round 3-minute fights, most women would probably not go the distance. But the way they're fighting right now.
No, oh hell no, they can't fight that way, and maybe they can't going that wild. Like, they have no time for lateral movement, pivoting, changing angles. They have no time for that. They're literally set up, punch, trade, back up, trade, back up, trade, round in. Like,
yeah.
But I feel like when we look at the highest levels up, when we look at Hannah Gabriel versus Clarissa Shield, when we look at the Amanda Serrano versus Vicky Taylor, and we look at what Clarissa Shield versus who was the girl who just fought? Not just fought. Yeah, the one she just fought.
Emma Koza?
Yeah. Oh, sorry, no, not the one she just fought. Yeah, but her. Yeah, like we've seen different fabrics and what women's boxing can show us. Because I feel like when Hannah Gabriel and Clarissa Shields fought, she showed us the exact same thing you're talking about with Michaela Mayer. That wildness to just throw punches and come forward, and that kind of got knocked down. But when she fought, what's the Russian girl's name she fought?
Oh wait, who? Ivana Habazin? Ivana Habazin?
The one who he said her ass was fatter than her.
Oh yeah. You're talking about You're talking about Ivana Habazin.
Is that her?
Yeah. She was like trash talking with Clarissa.
Yeah. So yeah, her. But in that fight, we seen Clarissa boxing. I feel like, and just like in the Amanda Serrano and Vicky Taylor, like when I seen Amanda coming forward, I didn't see Amanda just coming forward throwing punches. I seen Amanda coming forward and angles. I seen Amanda throwing combinations, head, body. Like, I seen Amanda being creative, actually boxing and winning. Like, I feel like when I see Michaela Mayer in this fight, she's gonna be coming full, using lateral movement, leading her, and coming forward at times and landing effectively. And I do think Lisa Bumgarner is going to do the same. My issue is who's going to be more effective and who's going to be more effective. You know what I mean? Like, because they're both beautiful women, but who's going to clear the punches better is what's to say. Because if Alicia's on the back foot, she's catching Michaela every time she comes in to try to throw something, that's going to look great for Alicia. But if the vice versa is happening and Michaela's touching her every time, it's going to look way better for Michaela because she's already the defending unified champion. So there's going to be benefit out of her. And then also the benefit of the doubt of the fact that A, she's white, and then B, you also got to knock her out. Talking about knocking her out, and that's. I'm not saying that the judges are only going to be like, "Hey, she's a black girl, she's going to win unless she knocks her out." But if that's what they're selling this fight to be, and you don't see hurting her at all, that's going to play into the judges' minds too. Oh, she's got all this power. I ain't see this girl rock out once, getting hit every time she comes in. So that's. I'm just playing out different scenarios because. Because Alicia Bumgarner was on the ball. You know, she lost. She's not undefeated. And Michaela Mayer is undefeated, right? She hasn't lost. So, like, that plays into it too. I don't believe in the mentality that, hey, you've lost before, so you know how to lose, and you'll lose again. And you haven't lost, so you won't lose. I don't believe that. But I do believe that there is a difference in the level of preparedness and level of camps and people who are built to be undefeated and to stay undefeated.
Yeah, but I just don't see, like, you know, Alicia being that type of fighter where she's just going to, like, come in and think that she's like the ultimate badass after knocking out Terry Harper. It's just that her level of skill set, that she's been improving over the years have seemed to be more, telling in her progression as a fighter. And with Michaela, this is why that I don't like Top Rank in the first place, well, at all, because every fighter that they hype up, they feed the fighters weak opposition that they know that their fighter is going to win. So, there's always like a clarity of their fighter going through a little bit adversity, but that's why their matchmakers do the quote unquote supreme matchmaking to make sure that their fighter goes through a tough challenge, but it's not super duper tough versus in like any other stage of, actual matchmaking that should be 50-50 level matchmaking. That's where, fighters should be going through all forms of adversity to never think that they're going to be matched up with somebody that they're just going to blow out, so quick.
Now, I was trying not to say it. I was trying to say everything but that, but you basically saying it like nobody with a top rank diet is proven, and I believe that as well. So I just didn't want to say it about my girl. So she on a top rank diet, and this is her first step outside of that top rank diet. But everybody got to take that leap. If they think Lil Buddy and the children of the Cornhuskers can do it, and I think Michaela Mayer can do it. I think
that's what I'm saying. Like, she's the only bitch that's. Yeah. She's the only woman that's with Top Rank, and then now they're gonna bring in Senicia Estrada. But it's like, look at how they're moving them. They're gonna be treating them, like they're like the ultimate badass fighter. But it's like, they're not taking the risk to go after tougher challenges. And like I brought up about the Amanda Serrano weight bully argument that I had in the past with that other person, like Amanda Serrano, she's been wanting all the big fights. The problem is that nobody doesn't want to fight her when she does come to the table. So two things are going to end up happening. One, she's going to go back down to her natural weight and fight somebody, or just find, the next available opponent where she's just going to fight them, whether if it's for like a title or not. And I mean, when she did become a champion in her very first, division, the original champion of that belt that she won, she basically vacated it. So it's like, Amanda Serrano, she's a clear example of a throwback game bred fighter, on the coincidental list. But like, when you look at fighters like Michaela Mayer or any of these fighters that are protected through a promotional company, they're not taking risks to go after bigger challenges, Like when I heard Michaela Mayer say that she wanted to fight Katie Taylor years ago, I was like, okay, so when are you going to fight Katie Taylor? But, the minute she grabbed herself like a title at 130, why didn't she just use that leverage to go after Katie Taylor instead having, Amanda Serrano go after her, in which obviously that was due to business and Katie Taylor not wanting to come to the table. But it's like, knowing that Michaela Mayer, you have Top Rank behind you, Bob Arum can put up that money because you're not a big name, and Katie Taylor, she's a bigger name than you. Then that fight should have been made years ago before Amanda Serrano got the opportunity to fight her.
Cool. Facts, bro.
It's like Michaela Mayer had multiple opportunities to fight Katie Taylor. You could have fought Jessica McCaskill at 140. You could have fought Chantel Cameron. You could have fought any of these ladies at bigger weights, but yet you want to keep yourself at 130 and unify the division? No one cared about 130 until Alicia Baumgartner came into the picture. And then with Terry Harper, that fight was never going to sell, in the first place. Terry Harper was not that big of a name going through Matchroom. But yet, you mean to tell me, yeah.
So this is 135? I mean 130, not 135?
Yeah, this is at super featherweight.
Super featherweight, damn. I got that wrong in my video. I said this was 135, this is 130.
Yeah. But, I'm just laying out, the facts right there, because it's like everybody tries to shrug that off to act like Michaela, she's this ultimate badass fighter, but it's like she was not calling out all the bigger fish fights at bigger weights, and I'm pretty sure she can make 135 and 140, but, when you look at her frame, it's like you're not built to, you're not built to fight at 130. You're supposed to get yourself matched up with 135 or 140 pounders at least. It's like,
I thought that's where this was at 135.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
Yeah, but I just, I'm just not sold on her because, she always stands behind Bob Arum when she talks about women's boxing, and she lies her ass off saying Bob Arum is like the best in the game supporting women's boxing, but yet when Bob Arum talks shit about women's boxing, she keeps her mouth shut. She keeps her mouth fucking shut.
The most shit.
He literally, right. Yeah, he literally said women's boxing is, the shittiest sport ever. Like,
these people don't watch it. They don't like women.
People.
There's no reason to watch it.
Yeah, he says people don't give a fuck. Like, the only people that care about women's boxing is me and, the very small community of men that actually put up money for it. That's it. No women, no average woman, off the street is going to say, yeah, I love female boxing, because most women don't watch sports. That's true.
Facts.
Like,
Facts,
to ruin all the females that want to share this around and say, oh, nah, you're lying, you're a hater. Like, be honest with me. Like, do you really think all the women that watch the WNBA really go to WNBA games? Just be... Like, yeah.
No.
So same thing.
I know that for a fact.
Yeah.
I mean,
WNBA gets their funding from the NBA. So.
Right.
Yeah. But it's like
that's what I would admit. That's crazy, and I don't even watch basketball well enough to know. Like, that was a great example put that way. Like a great analogy put that way.
Yeah.
Because if we actually look at the sport, it's more like a subgenre that's supported by men. It's not its own thing.
Yeah, it's not its own thing.
Alone. Women's boxing doesn't stand alone on its own it like literally that's why we're so proud of the card with Claressa Shields being the man and winning this year in the co-main event because it's standing on its own and Katie Taylor and Amanda Serrano was like the first to stand on its own and
Yeah, that
or
Katie
one of the
Taylor.
first video.
Yeah, that Katie Taylor Amanda Serrano fight was electric. I was there for my birthday, and oh my god, like all the Irish and
there?
Puerto Rican fans,
Woo!
like, yo, they were screaming on one side and the other side. Like, I was like literally sitting in like a pool of like Irish fans, and you know, I was waving like my Puerto Rican flag, and you know, like I had this one drunk Irish guy trying to fight me. And I was like, dude, like, you know, I'll crush your whole fucking face wide open, but I'm not going to do that until you start pressing me. But, like, seriously, like, I had, like, Puerto Ricans, like, standing up for me, but, you know, it was, like, a really good event. You know, I had, like, a good time talking with, like, a whole bunch of Irish people, and, you know, I got along with, like, a lot of Puerto Ricans there, so, you know, I just felt like, you know, I was inside, like, a, you know, like a, like, you know, like it felt like an NBA game mixed with like an NFL game. You know what I'm saying? Like,
it sounds like a football game mixed with another like soccer game almost. Like,
oh yeah,
shit can get heated, shit can get real, but at the same time, it's all love because it's national pride. You know, like
yeah, it's just like competitive drive. That's all. You know, I mean, I don't.
Yeah.
You know, I don't take it seriously unless I'm in the event competing, but you know, like I'm gonna express myself out however I want. So
absolutely. And people embrace things and embody things in their own ways. Like that's another thing people got to understand. Like most people don't take it as seriously as the actual people practicing because the actual people executing don't take it as serious as they embody it, the supporters or fans, you feel me? Because there are people who just look at boxing as a sport. They don't look at it as a fight. There are some people who just look at it as a sport, actually. Wins, lose, and draws. There are some people who look at every fight as this is like a fight, like a street fight, like who stole something from my mom. And then there are some people who have a hybrid of both, or some people who don't care at all, some people who just do it for money and do it because it's a way to pay their bills, you know what I mean? And look at it as a side hustle. Whereas there are some fans or people who embrace the fact that it's like, yo, there's one of my people doing something great, doing something miraculous. You're going to become undisputed, or you're going to become a champion of the world, or you know. So you have people who embrace, embody, and are energized by this in whatever way. Just like you said, whatever the fuck way you feel like it, and whatever the way you feel like expressing it. And I think that's the beauty in it, in entertainment, and is that transference of energy. I think the issue where it comes in is the people who aren't like you, who can't discern that, like, that what's happening, basically. Like, you understand what's happening, that there's pride and there's an energy transference between you and someone you're supporting, and you and the people around you that you're connecting with, because they're sharing this energy that you all are embodying, and you guys can relate and proudly be happy and revel. You feel me? Whereas there are some people who take that and it becomes the me versus you. It becomes my race versus your race, or my nation versus your nation, and they don't even understand it's a transference of energy from an athlete to a supporter, and a way to simply patronize, like not like in a negative way, but like it's consumerism. We're literally supporting someone. We're paying to support and fan and celebrate. So
yeah, it's a decentralized form of market anarchism.
Yeah, you know, so it's essentially gathering for a fun experience, and there are some people who can't realize I mean, who get so overwhelmed by their their pride in an individual that it turns into a war. And I don't, and I, to me, I never truly understood that. Like I like the fights that break out amongst like people in the crowd over fighters. Like I I don't I don't necessarily get that. You feel me? Like I don't get fighting behind a fighter. I get fighting behind you disrespecting me, but I don't get fighting behind another fighter. You know what I mean? Like I don't get the the disrespect, like shooting, like being disrespectful to each other behind it. Like I get, I get, art honestly expressing yourself, and if that can be offensive, it can be taken that way. But uh, it's, I'm saying that opens the floor for conversation and communication about what we love most, and it makes room to get to facts. Um, but that's all I'll say about that. Really, really, I kind of derailed us a little bit. I do apologize.
No, no, man. Like you should, express how you feel and what you want to say. But to me at least, I just treat boxing like any other sport. I like now. I just come to be objective. I don't come to be like a racist piece of crap person. I want to see the best glorious fights made for the sport, and I want to become a contributor of it one day, hopefully. Like obviously, like I have my own career that I focus on, but I would like to be like a part of something to turn the pages of history to become a good contributor.
Yeah, and I think you already are. You already are in your journalistic career so far. You know what I mean? By being a truth teller, you are, and being consistent in rebuilding because you were already there. So
Yeah, man. But I think that's about it. I had a great conversation chatting it up with you, and keep me
yeah, we're
updated.
still in 4 minutes, man.
Yeah, man. Man, like yeah, like we've been going on for like 2.5 hours.
Woo. Time no flew, man. We're definitely having fun.
Yeah, like we should do this again if you want.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's make it a regular thing, man.
Yeah, for sure. Like we could get so many people, linked up on this.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, but
And it could be our weekend thing, you know?
yeah, yeah,
Weekend box some shit.
yeah. Just call it shooting up at the Beltway or something. I don't know.
Right.
Chopping it
Yeah,
up.
we'll definitely come. Shit.
Yeah,
Hey, but definitely have a good one, bro. And thank you for having me on, man. It was fun.
yeah, most definitely, man. Like I'll talk with you soon.
All right, go ahead.
Yes, sir. I'll
Peace.
see you. All right, all right, all right. Thank you guys for watching. Shout out to Combat Tool Bag, aka Wise the Warlock. Mr. Michelangelo Turner. And yeah, man, I had a great chop session with the one and only, soon to be, you know, up and rising up and coming fighter. And yeah, check him out, man. Check out Combat Tool Bag. He's a good person, and this is definitely being uploaded to the podcast for those of you that don't know. So definitely had a lot of fun talking boxing with Combat Tool Bag. Definitely will be doing this a lot more often. And yeah, man, be sure to like, rate, comment, and subscribe. Check me out in the podcast links and, everything else included. So I'm just on my grind. I'm going to continue to keep getting better. And eventually we're going to keep getting bigger. So that's pretty much it. Appreciate you guys. Salute to the mighty, mighty LDB. BC. And salute to the TWT. And I am out. And also, long live Puerto Rico. Hope everything's well for everyone that's out, you know, trying to recover in the hurricane. So I hope everything's doing well. And also for the victims that had suffered from Hurricane Ian down in Florida and other parts of the South. So hope everything's well for everybody that's out there. And I will see you guys later. Have a good night. And I'll see you guys more content being uploaded on my channel for gaming and other stuff. So I'll see you guys. Have a great day. Peace out. Bye.